you check the children? Show a little match sometimes.
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Sometimes. That is what
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Hi everybody, welcome back to the Horror Show. I'm Marcia Parker, and this is going to be another awesome Patreon review that was brought to you by Seth T. Miller. And today I'm doing the review for Your Vice is a Locked Room, and Only I Have the Key from 1972. So overall thoughts, I thought this movie was kind of out there, very strange. Like, this is on the cusp of the film industry and movies that are like almost out of touch for me on creativity and not creativity, but like just the stylistic and the story writing. It's almost a little out of reach for me in my not really comfort zone, but just like level of understanding and appreciation. But it was interesting for sure. On top of that, it was like a French film, so everything was dubbed. Not dubbed, but subtitles. And so you really have to pay attention unless you know the language. But it was very artistic as well. Very kind of, it's marked as a thriller. It's a serial killer movie, which, you know, I love serial killers, so I'm on. Let's do it. Let's go. And I don't know any of the actors and actresses. Nothing like stood out for me from any of that cast catalog. But overall, it was okay. I mean, I really had to pay attention to it, and it probably wouldn't be a number one pick for me. I don't know if I would actually recommend it to anyone, but if you kind of like those kind of eclectic A24 back in 1972 kind of movies, then go for it. But yeah, it was a little strange. So the plot line is you have this he's a writer who's not very good. He's on his way out, and from what I gathered, he is a descendant of some rich and powerful, like kind of like lordship person. And they had like this giant house, and for the longest time I thought his wife was just his mistress or some hooker that he just kept around, because why not? And then I found out towards the end of the movie is actually his wife. So I was like, oh, okay. So he's just a jerk. And you kind of just start off with him like having like this weird sex party, and it got even stranger because his wife comes down wearing his mother's dress, and they have a sexual relationship thing happen. It was very weird, a little rapey, but not quite. I was like, this is strange. I can't tell if she's being raped or she likes it. It was very weird. It was almost like, okay, now we have to throw a sex scene in here. And then, then the murders start, and people suspect him for doing the murders, and because he's kind of a weirdo, and he seems to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. Their maid dies, and then he's all like, I didn't do this. But we have to hide the body because they're not going to believe that I didn't do this. So she, doesn't really want to help him, but, he just kind of does his thing. And then all of a sudden I couldn't really remember, like I was following it, but it was a hard time to distinguish. But a third girl comes in the play, like she comes off a train and picks him up. I think it's some sort of like friend or relative of some sort, stepsister, something, some descendant that he knows. And so, or maybe it was supposed to be like a girlfriend that he like threw away and then like came back or something. I can't remember, but she shows up, and she's gorgeous, but she really plays this like plot device of being like the girl who is free, and I really felt they just put her in the plot line so that way they could have 6 or 7 different sex scenes with her having sex with 6 or 7 different people. Like, she comes in and she's having sex with the guy that brings them the milk, and then she's having sex with the wife, and then she's having sex with the husband, and then she's having sex with somebody else, and like I don't know, the police chief. I don't know. Like, I'm like, what is happening? This girl's just like everywhere, and like, I'm not committing to everyone. But then she also plants seeds in the wife's brain about like, hey, you should leave. He's gonna kill you. He could be the killer. You know, there's a lot of question marks. So it's a little bit of a thriller. You're trying to unravel who it is and also like what is going on in this movie. 90% of the time I was just like, what is going on? Like, I can't even, is the murderers like the big thing, or is it like the relationships? Like, what? It was very strange storytelling. It was hard to follow at times, but I got there. In the end, I was like, okay, all right, that's kind of interesting twist. I don't want to say what the end is because maybe you'll want to watch it. You can actually view the movie through. I watch it through YouTube TV because I think it's part of. I don't know. It was available. I was able to search it up. I don't know if it's because of Shudder or what. But I was able to watch it and for free. So if you have YouTube TV or Shudder, you should be able to watch the movie for free, and it's very interesting. If you like that kind of weird stuff, like I said, eclectic A24 weird movie telling decision movies in the 70s, then this is up your alley. But yeah, like it was like on the cusp of like not for me kind of movie. The graphics were not very good. Like when they were killing, I mean, it was thick orange blood. There's a situation with a cat, so if you're not into seeing some, even though it was a fake, obviously fake cat that they did what they did to, like, I wouldn't watch it if you have a hard time with that. A little animal brutality, but there's a lot of sex and a lot of tits and an interesting resolve. So that was the give and take there. Nothing too exciting to write home about, in my opinion, but it was definitely an interesting watch. So thank you, Seth T. Miller, for allowing me the opportunity to go through that. It's definitely something I would not have watched on my own, but it's good to have in my artillery. So if anybody brings it up one day, then I'm like, I watched this movie, and it was interesting. So there was some fun plot points, but maybe if they kind of dialed it in a little bit more, it could be a little bit better. But yeah, so that is your Vice is a Locked Room, and I am the only one with a key from 1972 Patreon request. And if you want to become a Patreon and get me to watch these weird eclectic movies or something that you find interesting and fun, please feel free to become a member of our Patreon and join the club and start doing that for us. And then also, if you like this review and want to see more, make sure you hit subscribe and that like button so that way we can continue to deliver you amazing content from our show. Other than that, thank you again for all of our Patreon current members and all of our future members out there. This has been The Horror Show. I've been Marcia Parker, and remember, stay scared.